has now warned that there will be no calm in the region unless Hezbollah halts its attacks. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has warned that there will be no calm in the region. This, of course, comes as Israel is expanding its military operations in southern Lebanon. Ms. Mithali Nikore, I'd like to rope you into the conversation here, of course. What we've seen today is, yes, a hike as far as the prices of the cylinders are concerned, but domestic cooking gas prices are still unchanged. What we've also seen, interestingly, over the last couple of years, as far as global tensions and global catastrophes are concerned, whether it was COVID-19, whether it was the Russia-Ukraine war, and the tensions in West Asia before 2025-2026, of course, is that the domestic fuel prices in India did change, but the change was more gradual. They were often elevated even after the crude prices had sort of moderated and settled down. But now it seems, because the Strait of Hormuz continues to remain blocked, the situation is more dire. What is your assessment? Do you think India should do something different? Of course, our strategies earlier have worked throughout these catastrophes that we have seen, whether it's COVID-19, Russia-Ukraine war, but what different can we do now because the scenario has completely changed?
You've asked me in this way, this question, because I think all of us are asking ourselves this: are we out of options? Are we backed into a corner? And I don't think we are. There are so many things that are going for the Indian economy even today. We continue to be one of the fastest growing economies in the world. We continue to offer the world competitive products and services at prices that they have not seen, and at a value for money kind of a situation, because our products, our services have such high quality. We continue to be very buoyant as a domestic economy. Even if we were to close off to the world in terms of our trade, our domestic economy is so large that it can keep us going for a few years without any much reduction in our GDP growth rate. So very honestly, we are a very innovative economy, and there are so many things about the Indian economy which I always find fascinating, because if you think about it, there are so many countries, emerging economies, say in Africa or even in other parts of Asia, which can't manufacture 90% of the goods that their population need. But we are self sufficient. We have the wherewithal to manufacture everything. It may not be price competitive, which is why we don't do it and which is why we trade. But we have the capability to manufacture it. We know, we have the know how. Now, today, what do we need? We need innovation in our economy. We need to solve the root cause of this crisis. The root cause of this crisis is an oil supply shock, which is threatening our energy security. So, what should we do? We should be looking at alternatives to the oil supply. Now, one short term way of doing this, of course, which the government is already doing, is diversification, looking at new sources, new countries which can supply to us. And now we are even importing oil from Argentina. That
Yes.
is already going on. But the second step of that is where I think the government really needs to hit the accelerator button, which is on the innovative fuels, alternative fuels, in which we may not have seen as much investment so far, because obviously we didn't need them to this extent, but now we do. And someone like, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, I would say, is such a visionary, because he has been speaking about ethanol blending for such a long time. And now, thanks to a lot of the concerted efforts we've made over the last few years, we have that as an option. We can actually test it out in the market. We have electric vehicles thanks to, the vision vision of Prime Minister Modi, because he has been the one leading on the agenda of solar energy and electric vehicles, which have become much more mainstream, and our ecosystems are much more tailored to taking them. I feel we really need to expand this entire solar infrastructure in rural areas. I was speaking to a lot of non-governmental organizations that have independent schools and washrooms, etc., where they need lights. It's a small requirement. They are now putting up the rooftop solar to reduce the dependence on the electricity grid. This can be done at a large scale. And then we also are looking at futuristic technologies like dimethyl ether and hydrogen powered vehicles. These should not be technologies of the future. These should be technologies of the next 3 years, because we have the technical capability. And this is where, expediting this energy transition makes us energy independent once and for all. This is, in my view, the real culmination of this crisis can be in our creativity.
Absolutely, ma'am. With that, I'd like to thank you, Ms. Nikore. I'd also like to thank Dr. Kohli and Mr. Mishra for taking out time, sharing your insights and perspective on what's happening as far as the ramifications of the crisis in West Asia is concerned. Viewers, on that note, we are tracking some further updates. We're now learning that the United Nations Security Council has called for an emergency meeting as Israel is intensifying its operations in Lebanon. Over the weekend, remember, Israel launched more strikes towards southern Lebanon and captured the Beaufort Castle, which Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has hailed as a dramatic shift. Today, the Israeli Prime Minister and Defense Minister have ordered the expansion of its military campaign. In further developments, we're tracking this time from Iran. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has called for a ceasefire in Lebanon, warning that any consequences for the truce violations would be due to the US and Israel's continued attacks. He's claimed that the ceasefire between Iran and the US is unequivocally a ceasefire on all fronts, including in Lebanon. Its violation on one front is a violation of the ceasefire on all fronts. In the meantime, we're also learning that the United States has proposed a new plan aimed at reducing tensions between Israel and Lebanon as fighting continues along the border. As US President Donald Trump has reportedly sent back a separate proposed agreement with Iran for further revisions. That's, of course, what we've been tracking.